Hey guys, it's me, Veronica, and it's part 2 of what I believe will be part 3. Now, I had just finished off my first year, and I had to wait for that to go away. So I finished my first year of Alverno College. I had put in paperwork, and it's very important that I say this now. I had placed in paperwork so I could be changed to interactive media design. But as you're going to find out, not everything gets listened to. So I'm taking my classes and my credits. I applied to UWM twice. Both times I get accepted. The first time I did it, I was like, well, when should I start? Should I start at the spring? Because I was thinking, I'll start it at spring. It'll be fine. And then I talked to my mom. She's like, if you start at spring, you might not be able to take your film classes like you want, blah, 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 blah. So I pushed it back. I'm talking to what is now, let's see, I went through Veronica, the one woman who quit, the other woman who was like, oh yeah, I'll fill out the paperwork, blah, 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 don't worry about it. I gave it to my school, the paperwork that I filled out, and she said, I'll deal with it, don't worry about it. So finished out the first year. Second year, I went in, I'm like, I will just do classes that have to deal with my 2 minors, which was Spanish and culture and theater, because those were the 2 I knew I wanted to take. If anything else, I knew I wanted to work on Spanish and I wanted to work on my theater. So I was taking those. Fine, excellent, good, awesome. However, because the third woman said she couldn't do it, I then got another person, Kate, and another woman who I can't even remember because I was undeclared. And I'm one of those people that is very anal, because I would print up my paperwork and it would say undeclared, and I went to them and said, hey, my major says undeclared. I'm doing interactive media design. Don't worry about it, we'll get to it, blah, blah, blah. Kate was the one who'd mentioned interactive media design and said, it's going to be new, it's going to be computer-based, blah, blah, blah. Well, I know you're doing film, but this is computer-based. You could maybe take it towards video, online. Who knows? Sky's the limit. That is why I stayed at Alverno. When I talked to her after a year, right before I went to UWM, because I realized this major that I had stayed, I had stayed an extra year because they enticed me with this major. She said, well, I never told you that it would actually be towards film or anything like that. I just said that, it would be internet. You could take it wherever. Okay, if I can take it wherever, I understand that, but it seems like it's more, well, blah, 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 blah. And she sent me a very rude, nasty email that I posted on my MySpace page. If I knew my MySpace page account and what email I gave, you best believe I would go and show you guys now what she actually said. But I digress. I go to UWM. I get 2. First one was Dinah. Second one was Sandra. Sandra ended up leaving as I'm at UWM. So I get another person, which is Dinah again. So let's see. I've already gone through Kate, the woman I didn't know, the one that left, the other one, and Dinah, Veronica. So maybe 5 or 4. I go to UWM and I say to them, how much money do I need to take out? They said, oh, you'll need to take out $10,000, so it'll cover it. I took out $10,000 and I got $8,000 back. This was with a student. A student. I don't know if she thought I was out of town, because with the out-of-towners, you're paying $7,000, or I'm sorry, $15,000. So the fact I got money back, instead of me saying, I'm gonna go and put that money towards my loan, my idiot self, because this is the first time I've actually gotten a loan out, where people are like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I spent it on booze, food. I got a computer, a Macintosh, a MacBook Pro, so I could help me with my editing class, which, honest to God, didn't do jack shit for me. But anyway, that's why I did it. Then, what ended up happening is I went to Bond. Got an advisor through Bond. Whatever. That cost $20,000. $20,000. I thank it every day. Here's part of the problem that happened to me when I was in Bond. And someone had told me this. My ex had told me this, but I didn't want to believe him because we weren't talking. And, like the way he was talking to me, he made me feel like he knew more, and he was just really rude in his delivery. But he gave great advice. He said, get a phone while you're down there. Do not use a phone that you have from America. I went on T-Mobile, tried to find the information. Every single time the system went down, the people were kind of rude to me. I thought, it'll be fine. I had a friend at the time who will talk to you for 3 hours. He was part of T-Mobile. So whenever I would call him, he would be like, oh, that's expensive, blah, blah, blah. Don't use that other phone. $5,000 in cell phone from him talking to me for 3 hours, $600, and he had somebody else on the phone, and he was talking to the other guy. Both of them are in Wisconsin. And I went over and I'm like, I need to stop talking to you this way. But yeah, the damage had already been done. Oh, and I also found out that if I'm going to Las Vegas, I didn't know this at the time with T-Mobile, if I go over to Las Vegas, that's considered roaming. So that's how I got an extra $700. And I was crying in tears, and I'm talking to them, and my friend Randy was like, just be an asshole. And I'm like, why is this blah, blah, blah? And the woman was like, well, you're roaming. It's your own fault. I started crying, and she's like, well, you're roaming right now. And I'm like, I'm roaming right now? But I'm in the States. And she's like, it's not Wisconsin, so you are roaming. Thankfully, I got rid of them. So let's see, $65,000 from Bond, which was $20,000, or actually it was $29,000 from UWM. Then I have Alverno, which I don't even want to talk about. Finally, I graduated UWM. I talked to the private loan people and said, look, I don't have enough money. I work at Bath and Body Works. They just dropped me from 20 hours a week to 5 hours a month. And they were like, well, what we could do is we could put you on deferment for 6 months, but then you have to pay $350. $350? Yeah. Sorry, that's it. So then I worked at Potawatomi, made extra money, was putting it towards there because their main thing was if you put it at this time, you save 0.5% or whatever the total is. And me being me, I was like, I need to do this. So I was struggling. A day, like out of the month, one paycheck went to them. And since I was part-time and not full-time, I couldn't really do anything else. And that's usually what happened. Everything would go towards that, and then I would be done. Then, recently, I was like, you know what? I need to go back to school because I'm not actually in my career as TV. I graduated with my film degree, but nothing's working out. So now I'm back in school. Here's one thing that I did do. When I had talked to them, they said, wow, you're paying, $350 for one bill, and then you have all these other places. You should go and consolidate. I consolidated. Same time I was consolidating, President Obama went and said, hey, if you're doing this, then blah, 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 blah. You could do whatever. Had I known I could have done that and not consolidated right then and there, that would have helped me. This is part 2, part 3. So right now, we're coming up to the gist of now and what's going to happen when I graduate next semester. Oh, joy.